The rivalry between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks has always been one of the most intense and passionate in all of Major League Baseball. But what unfolded in the hours following their most recent matchup took that rivalry to a completely different level. Arizona Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo made a series of heated and explosive comments directed at Shohei Ohtani that sent shockwaves through the entire baseball world. And before the dust had even begun to settle, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts stepped up to the microphone and fired back with a harsh and powerful public statement that left absolutely nobody in the room without something to say. The baseball world has not seen a manager versus manager confrontation of this magnitude in a very long time, and the reactions from players, analysts, and fans have been nothing short of extraordinary. But what exactly did Torey Lovullo say about Shohei Ohtani that ignited such a fierce and immediate response? Why did Dave Roberts feel the need to respond so publicly and so forcefully? And what does this explosive exchange mean for the relationship between these two teams going forward? The answers to these questions have left the entire baseball community buzzing with excitement, debate, and disbelief, and the story continues to develop in ways that nobody could have possibly predicted. It all began in the aftermath of what had been an extremely competitive and emotionally charged game between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Both teams had played with incredible intensity from the very first pitch, and the atmosphere inside the stadium had been electric throughout the entire contest. Players on both sides had given everything they had, and by the time the final out was recorded, emotions on both benches were running at an extremely high level. It was in this charged and heated atmosphere that Torey Lovullo sat down with reporters for his post-game press conference, and what he said in that room changed everything. Those who were present in the press conference room that evening described the atmosphere as tense even before Lovullo began speaking. The Diamondbacks manager walked in with a look on his face that immediately told reporters this was not going to be a routine post-game session. Lovullo sat down, looked directly at the assembled media, and wasted absolutely no time getting to the point. He began by addressing the performance of the Dodgers throughout the game and then, in a moment that left every reporter in the room reaching for their notebooks, turned his attention directly to Shohei Ohtani. Lovullo's comments about Ohtani were pointed, sharp, and completely unexpected given the level of respect that most managers in the league typically show toward one of the sport's biggest stars. He questioned several of Ohtani's decisions during the game and suggested that the Japanese superstar had been given preferential treatment by umpires throughout the contest. Lovullo went further and made comments that many observers interpreted as a direct challenge to Ohtani's competitive character, suggesting that the Dodgers superstar had not performed at the level that his enormous reputation and contract demand. The room went completely silent for a moment as reporters processed what they had just heard, and then the questions began flying from every direction. Word of Lovullo's comments spread through the baseball world with extraordinary speed. Within minutes of the press conference ending, clips and transcripts of his remarks were circulating across every major sports media platform and social media channel. Players from around the league were reacting, analysts were debating, and fans were expressing their opinions loudly and passionately on every available platform. The overwhelming consensus among those who heard the comments was that Lovullo had crossed a line that most managers in the league are very careful never to cross, and that a response from the Dodgers camp was not just likely but absolutely inevitable. Dodgers players who learned about Lovullo's comments in the clubhouse reacted with immediate and visible anger. Several players expressed their feelings to reporters without holding anything back. Freddie Freeman, who has been one of the most vocal and passionate defenders of his teammates throughout his career, said that what Lovullo had said was completely disrespectful not only to Ohtani but to the entire Dodgers organization. Freeman said that in his many years in professional baseball, he had never heard a manager speak about another team's player in such a personal and pointed manner, and that the Dodgers were not going to let those comments go unanswered. Mookie Betts was equally direct in his response to Lovullo's remarks. Betts said that Shohei Ohtani is the hardest working and most dedicated player he has ever shared a clubhouse with and that anyone who questions his competitive character simply does not know what they are talking about. Betts added that the comments had only served to motivate every single player in the Dodgers clubhouse and that the team would be using Lovullo's words as fuel going forward. He said with a calm but intense expression that the Dodgers would let their performance on the field speak louder than any words ever could. But it was the response from Dodgers manager Dave Roberts that truly brought the situation to an entirely new level. Roberts, who is widely respected throughout the league for his measured and thoughtful approach to managing both games and relationships, made it very clear from the moment he stepped up to the podium that this was not going to be a measured or diplomatic response. Those who know Roberts well said they had rarely seen him as visibly fired up as he was when he began addressing Lovullo's comments at his own press conference. Roberts started by acknowledging that he had been made aware of exactly what Lovullo had said and that he had taken the time to review the comments carefully before responding. He said that he wanted to make sure he fully understood what had been said before he chose his words, but that once he had reviewed everything, he felt there was absolutely no room for ambiguity in how he needed to respond. Roberts then delivered a statement that left every reporter in the room completely stunned by its directness and its force. Roberts said clearly and without hesitation that Torey Lovullo's comments about Shohei Ohtani were not only disrespectful but were entirely without foundation and reflected a complete misunderstanding of what kind of player and person Ohtani truly is. Roberts said that Ohtani comes to the ballpark every single day with more dedication, more focus, and more genuine love for the game than anyone he has ever managed in his career. He said that for any manager in this league to question that dedication publicly was something he found deeply troubling and completely unacceptable. Roberts did not stop there. He went further and addressed Lovullo's suggestion that Ohtani had received preferential treatment from the umpires during the game. Roberts called those comments a distraction from the real story, which was that the Dodgers had simply outplayed the Diamondbacks from the very first inning to the very last out. He said that rather than looking for external explanations for the result of the game, perhaps Lovullo should focus his energy on his own team's performance and leave Shohei Ohtani out of it entirely. The room erupted with questions the moment Roberts finished speaking, and the Dodgers manager answered every single one of them with the same level of directness and passion that had characterized his opening statement. Reporters who were present described it as one of the most remarkable and memorable press conference performances they had ever witnessed from a Major League Baseball manager. By the time Roberts walked away from the podium, it was already clear that his words were going to dominate the sports headlines for days to come. As the fallout from the exchange between Lovullo and Roberts continued to grow, attention turned to how Shohei Ohtani himself was responding to everything that had been said. Sources close to the Dodgers revealed that Ohtani had been informed of Lovullo's comments and had taken the time to read exactly what had been said. According to those same sources, Ohtani's reaction was entirely consistent with the character and composure that has defined his entire career. Rather than responding with anger or engaging in any kind of public back and forth, Ohtani simply smiled and told those around him that the only response that mattered was the one he would give on the field. Several of Ohtani's teammates described his reaction as a perfect example of why he is so universally respected not only within the Dodgers organization but throughout the entire baseball world. Freeman said that Ohtani's ability to rise above the noise and stay completely focused on what truly matters is one of the qualities that makes him not only the greatest player in the game today but also one of the greatest teammates anyone could ever ask for. Freeman added that the whole team drew enormous inspiration from the way Ohtani handled the situation and that it only made them more determined to go out and perform at the highest possible level in their next game. Meanwhile, the baseball world continued to debate the implications of everything that had been said. Former managers and players who appeared on television and radio programs throughout the day were largely unified in their assessment that Lovullo had made a serious mistake by targeting Ohtani publicly and that Roberts had responded in exactly the right way by defending his player with passion and conviction. Many analysts suggested that the exchange would only intensify the already fierce rivalry between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and that the next time these two teams met on the field, the atmosphere would be unlike anything either fanbase had experienced in recent memory. As the day came to a close and the baseball world prepared for what promised to be an extraordinary next chapter in this developing story, one thing was absolutely certain. Torey Lovullo's heated comments had ignited a fire that was not going to be extinguished anytime soon. Dave Roberts had made that perfectly clear. And Shohei Ohtani, as always, was ready to let the game do all the talking.